to emphasize a reality. The reality that the aviation systems are becoming more and more digitally, and as they become more and more digitally, they are also exposed. They are exposed to cyber risks, and but also we need to understand that cybersecurity is not only an IT problem, as always used to be. Cybersecurity is now economic problem, is a national security problem, is a operational security problem. So in the aviation environment is really one thing that we must pay attention, and we must act against all these cyber risks. So in Africa, we must understand that our aviation infrastructure must be protected as one. We need skilled people, we need operational capability, and we also need to have intelligence, reliable intelligence information. So, as the elders said in the past, when the herd stay united, the lion goes to bed hungry. That is why we must understand what we, as the herd, we are protecting. We are protecting our CNS ATM systems. We are protecting one thing, or to be just a little humble, that is not one thing. We are protecting a critical infrastructure for our country. Why it is critical? You are the experts in this subject. They are critical because for an aircraft to go from one side to the another side of the airspace, we must have communication, we must have the navigation system, and we must have surveillance system. All that with the air traffic management system available. So when these kind of systems goes off because of external malicious activity, we will have serious trouble. And we are not talking about a website that goes down or a Google page that goes down. We are talking about systems when they go down, we will have severe impacts, severe economic impacts, severe security impacts. That's why this kind of systems, they are considered critical infrastructure on the countries. And as they are critical infrastructure, they are not only critical as one thing that they represent. They are also complex systems. When we are talking about CNS ATM infrastructure, we are talking about also in an ecosystem that is complex. Why it is complex? That system must be also supported by different kind of system. And on the last presentation, we heard that this kind of system must be interoperable. I don't know if my English said well, but even in Portuguese, interoperability is breaking the tongue. And that is why this kind of complex system, we must have high availability communication and telecommunication systems. We must have transportation network system also connected. We must have human system, and when we are talking about human system, it's not only the system that is used to for us to perform the work, but also the human system that can check if you are available or you are also present on the field to perform all owe your duty. And we are talking about energy solutions, energy that can be efficient and can be sustainable, all that connected to this one critical infrastructure, CNS, ATM infrastructure. And it's easier for us to understand and to have the perception that it is hard to perform this kind of connectivity, this kind of operation without technology. And without technology, and talking about technology, we must take into consideration that all these systems have evolving, or is always been evolving. That is why we started, I think, in the middle in electrical industry, the 2.0 and information industry era, when we have many of our systems in that stage, and because of all of other parts of the ecosystems is evolving also, we must implement this new technology. That is why we are having a more digitalized environment. And these all technology, they must be seen as enablers of our services, our work, and they always will bring transformations on our society, increasing efficiency and productivity. They also will help us will assist us to have new business models and also sustainable solutions. It's good. It's a great thing to have tools that are evolving, that are enable our service and all our activity going smoothly, and we can also have access to better results on our day-to-day activities. But when we are talking about digitalization, we will always talking about new threats, new situations and new scenarios, that all the things that we have constructed till now, all the things that is working better or less, will embrace new challenge. And this new challenge, unfortunately, when our systems are targeted by malicious actors, we will face consequence. And the first consequence always, and that is that we can realize easily, is the operational consequence. Sorry. And the operation disruptions will impact our safety navigation, will impact on the delays of normal activities, and will impact on operational controls. Our systems will not working because a malicious threat or a bad actor will succeed, was succeeded. And also, because we are talking about a critical infrastructure, we will have impact on finance level. Finance level, we will have disruptions on the day-to-day activities related to how the money, how the companies that are operating will have their system not available, and also they will not have the normal activity relating with the finance systems that need to be operating on a normal day. They also will have has with our system, and we are an entity that must be in compliance with legal and regulations norms, that because we all have our authorities in our countries that they indicate what are the best practice, what are the best things that we must have implemented in our environment. And if something goes wrong, maybe it was because any kind or some kind of security control was not okay or was not implemented. So we will also face legal or regulations problems. And for sure, reputational. We will have a space that is not with a good reputation, and we can, or we have a low or a downgrade of the trust in our environment. And least but not least but not nothing, yes. It's the sovereignty, national sovereignty, that was also talked and on the last presentation, the previous presentation. We are talking about national security. So if we have problem in our critical infrastructure, we will face national security challenge, and this kind of challenge, as we all know, if our nation is or has some threat or some problem, we will all must respond and stop doing the normal stuff, and we will facing something very, very hard to deal with. So we are talking about digitalization. We are talking about critical infrastructure. We are talking about hackers and this kind of stuff. And with this new era of digitalizations, we are facing the lion with that evolves. We are now facing digitalized crime, very, very organized. We are facing malicious. Oh, sorry. We are facing malicious AI. We were talking about the good AI on the previous presentation, but now we will talking about the bad AI. But we must have that in mind. As we said, AI is receive the data, receive what we put in. So if we use the AI for bad, that AI will also produce bad results or bad result or for bad things if we are bad actors. And we also talking about supply chain attacks and supply chain threats. And next, this is cyber attack are in progress. I think we all here in this room, we are aware of this kind of cyber attack. I'm not talking about new things, and this is why we must all together talk about this, understand what are the threats, understand what are the risks, and understand that we all must work together to face this kind of threat. So it's always better to understand who is the enemy. We are talking about our things, we are talking about our assets, and we are talking about defense. We must defend our critical assets. So who is our enemy? Starting for the little ones, the child of the cyber criminal activity, that they are just trying to get fame and being notorious on this environment, and they have some kind of limited resources. Is kids script kiddies, because I'm saying kids, but we as I can be adult and trying to start my criminal activity, so I will use the little tools. But we as critical infrastructure, we must understand that there are the kids and there are the old ones, the guys that are real cyber criminal. They understand how can be and how can get good thing from them when they perform this kind of attack. They have tools available. They perform and they are capable to recognize that this kind of target is interesting for him, and this is the two, or these are the two kind of malicious actors that we must starting pay attention of them. But also we will starting to facing the hacktivists. Hacktivists, last month, I don't know if it was this month, we had a forum, IT forum, and we had the first hacktivist attack. They change all they performed a defacement, that is, it changed all the image of this official web page of the forum. So these hacktivists are guys that they are just trying, it's not just, but they are trying to speak loud about something that they don't like with the government or with our institution. So we must pay attention to the hacktivists. And for CNS, ATM, engineers, we must be aware of organized crime. The organized crime are group of individuals organized and corporations for the bad things. They have technical capability, they are coordinated, they are well represented on the underground of the cybercrime. And we for and the bigger one, and it's good to see that we have our military personnel present in the house. So we have also nation states threats. There are nations. We are like, we always heard which kind of nations they are performing like organized cyber warfare, and these we as we have in critical infrastructure, we must be aware that they are the enemies. And now these enemies, they are not just doing the usual stuff, sending spam for us, or trying to blackmail us, saying that we have our nude photos and he will share it online. No, they now have like organized crime with e-commerce of cybercrime. There is one scenario that I want to. I think we all have heard about ransomware attack, when we have our system all encrypted and we must pay the villains, and they will supposed to relieve or release our data. But also there is one kind of scenarios that the first, that is first access market. This is an interesting scenario. We always are waiting for if someone get our credentials, the access to our system, that guy will invade our system. But now we have criminals that they collect many kind of credentials of different organizations from different countries, and they starting selling as first access. So the guy just want to get your credential, and we will sell it as I have the credential of Angolan authority, I have the credential of South African employees that can access their CNS system. So that is why we must pay attention to the organized crime. We also we need to pay attention to the malicious AI. The malicious AI, as I said, is the way we use the AI to perform our malicious tasks. Fortunately, on the previous presentation, we're talking about AI in a way to enable the working day-to-day activity of our CNS operator with the efficiency and with everything that can help them on the supervision and maintenance period. But now, here we are talking about AI for the bad things. Imagine we are unfortunately we have and we need to have third parties help to perform some task on the system that we buy or that we buy. So we have tallies, employees that they need to help us on the maintenance process. So with AI, we will be we are if we are talking about the use of AI, we can look at one scenario when one bad actor he tries to impersonate a third party personnel. He say, "Oh, I am here in a Teams call or in a phone call," and he will impersonate this third party entity, and he will invade our system. That is why we were talking about deep fake, this kind of videos and picture when we think we are facing malicious activity. And from supply chain scenario, as we have dependence on vendors, now these kind of malicious actors, they do not try to invade or to attack us directly. They will attack our suppliers. And when they attack our supplier, and when we are thinking that we are speaking with our supplier for the but we may think that we are talking with our suppliers, but no, we are talking with our unfortunately with our bad actor. So we must understand we will start facing this kind of scenarios and this kind of organized crime, malicious artificial intelligence, and also supply chain attack. So as I have started my presentation, how do we make the lion to go bed hungry? Don't forget, has African, has air traffic infrastructure, we must defend it as one. We must have capable personnel, we must have operational capabilities available, we must have intelligence, cyber threat intelligence with quality and on time to face all these kind of threats. And these solutions can be set on 2 or 3 pillars. The first one will be investing on the technical talent. We are always saying we need to invest on us. And for sure, you, everybody here, is specialist on CNS and ATM stuff. But when we are talking about cybersecurity, are we? Are we aware of the risks? Are we aware of the threats? Are we aware how to aware and we the knowledge to respond to this kind of threat, to recover our system, and to be able to continue our operations as it need to be? So the first pillar would be continuous training and certification, cybersecurity. On the previous presentation was about AI, because we are all expert on our subject. But when we have new things like AI and cybersecurity, we must to be aware of how to apply cybersecurity on my day-to-day activity. I am an example of that. My background is a software engineer, but when I decided to be a cybersecurity specialist, I started to see how to implement it on cybersecurity, on software development environment, or on software development teams, and go on. And now I'm a cybersecurity specialist. That is why, as a CNS and ATM specialist, it's important to know how to implement it on the day-to-day activity. And local skills development, we need to start it on our countries and spread it on the different countries of our continent, and retain this valuable talent, because when we starting to understand the things, many other organizations will try, for good for the employee, will try to catch all. And we need to build the community to share all this knowledge. And how can we achieve it? There is one interesting framework, that is the NICE framework from the US DoD, and no, not US DoD, but is similar, because it's the CISA, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. So they have available the NICE framework. This NICE framework will help us to have in our teams, and to have internal documentation of how we can implement education, how we can implement curricula for our training centers, to talking about security and cybersecurity. I'm getting older. I cannot read it, but okay. So when we will need to start talking about oversight and governance, help our internal leaders to understand that most talking about how they finance cybersecurity, why they need to finance cybersecurity initiative internally, and how they can advocate this effort inside of the organization. The other aspect is the design and development. As was said in the previous presentation, when we will participate, for example, for the AI design with the African touch, we need to have CNSS talents that understand the specification and said, not for AI, but for cybersecurity, that this solution must be compliant with this requirement. And to have that, our internal talent must understand it. They only need to understand how to operate, how to implement this kind of new knowledge of cybersecurity when he is configuring his Thales equipment. Also, many times we have the equipment we put on working live and running, but with the default specification. That is not okay. That is one of the biggest mistakes. We need to understand how to hardening this equipment. We need to understand how to write the documentation for the next colleague that will perform any kind of configuration in that equipment. He will be able to understand how to operate that securely. And protection and defense, and also investigation. With this framework, we are able to understand, okay, if in my team I have a specialist or I need a cybersecurity specialist, what kind of competencies area he must invest, or what kind of task he must perform, or what kind of knowledge and what kind of skills. This framework can help us to build a formal document, and from that formal document we can implement it easily on our environment. So nice framework. The second pillar is the implementation of SOC, Cybersecurity Operation Centers. We cannot defend ourselves and our infrastructure if we can, or if we are not able to see the enemy. We will, with SOC, we will have 24 by 7 monitoring. We will be able to really identify threats, really I am respond to this kind of threat, and fasting in a very fast way to implement the measures to close this threat scenario or the attack that is ongoing. And this kind of SOC must be modern because, as I said, the attacks, they are performing these kind of activities, or the attackers, this perform these kind of activities in a way that they are okay, they are very capable of. So I will introduce you to the NIST cybersecurity framework. What is the NIST cybersecurity framework? The first framework is on the educational perspective, how we can have our employees, our people skilled, capable of, but we must put everything working. And for to help us in this process, we may apply the NIST cybersecurity framework. First, will be able to internally govern the cybersecurity activities, identify the needs, and have our leadership sponsoring our internal initiative for cybersecurity resilience. And also, we must look at the for additional concept. Protect. We must protect. First, we must identify what we have inside. And when I say what we have inside, I'm talking about simple inventory of the equipment that we have, the credentials that we have, everything that we have that we can call it assets. And this kind of assets must be must be identified. We need to identify which kind of risks we are facing. So, for example, there is one kind of risk that is having legacy equipment in our environment that was told here. So, when we have legacy equipment, we are at risk. Why? Because the skills of the attackers are always evolving. The tools, I forgot to say that when we are talking about AI, is only just for example, when we are talking about AI, the cyber criminals, they are now capable to identify vulnerabilities, holes in our systems with AI. We using AI, and that is why even the National Vulnerability Database in America, they stopped it to publish the vulnerabilities, because now with AI they are capable to identify a large amount of vulnerabilities on the system that we have. Vulnerabilities that are holes from the past, from legacy systems, and with this kind of informations, the cyber criminals, they are easily capable to enter in our system. So for the identification, we must be aware that we have risks, and for this kind of risk, we must identify security control, cybersecurity control, implement it, test it, and put it running in risk to be to become true. And we must also to protect when we are talking about, for example, remote access for a third-party supplier, when they are helping us to configure the system, we must protect these connections and implement this kind of security measures. So, and going on, we must detect, we must be aware that something not good is happening. We must respond on time of when this kind of attacks are happening, and we must recovering. There is a concept that we must not only say cybersecurity, we must say cyber resilience, because we will face this kind in our networks, and we must be aware when this kind of activity come up, with kind of negative situation come up, we must recover fast, because the operation cannot be stopped. And during the process, that when you will start implementing this framework, before that, we can perform a maturity level assessment. And we will be able to answer if we are on the initial stage, on managed stage, defined, or quantitatively managed, or optimization. So we will be able to understand if you are when we are talking about cybersecurity. And the interesting thing is that in each of one of these items that I present as an organization, I can be at level 3 for example, for detection, but I can only be at level 2 or 1 for protection. That's why we need to perform cyber maturity exercise and understand in which level we are internally, and starting working on that. And the third and last pillar is the information exchange. We are here always telling that we must exchange, we must cooperate between between the entity, between us, and one the pillars is information exchange. Share to protect everyone. Trusted collaboration. Fortunately, for cybersecurity, we do not have this kind of politics things that may not make it easier to collaborate. As cybersecurity professional, as cybersecurity CNS ADM professional, we must collaborate, and this collaboration start today. And for to have this kind of collaboration, we can and we need to choose how we will exchange the information, and we without with it we will be able to respond on time when we were facing this kind of malicious activities. So to start, we need to think the simple way to share this kind of intelligence information related to malicious activity. We may set up a mailbox or official mailbox for incidents and report to one of the main agency or main entity or authority inside of our ecosystem. Or we may publish this kind of malicious activity. What is happening? And for example, using a portal or the official website for one of our authority, we can publish it, and we can also have all different tools in order to achieve this exchange. But the better would be to have more automatic or a more dedicated solution, threat sharing platform that on real time the airport be, if he sees any kind of indicator of compromise, he can share it with the others peers and in each of the other peers, don't forget that each need to have the security operations center. They will be able to prevent this situation, the bad situation, accordingly with the information that he had or he got from the peers. So we can here see a case overview, starting with identification, to identify and protect pillar. Don't forget, we are on our organization, and we must have all the threat identified, all the assets that we have in house identified and protected, because we must not be only doing cybersecurity stuff when the problem is happening. We must prevent it. So we must always have these two activities performed. And let's see, if we are facing a threat, that can be a ransomware service or a deep fake when we are receiving a false call from a vendor, but it's behind him, behind that call is the malicious actor, and he will try to get our credentials. We must be aware of this kind of threat, and we, as I said, we must be aware that these kind of things will happen, and we may not forget the target could not be directly us, maybe our supplier. Each one of these suppliers during the manufacturing, during the supplying activity, they can be compromised. So when they are compromised, um, we can be, or we unfortunately will be the final target. So when we are under attack, we must have our internal capability to what? To detect the indicators of compromise. And who will indicate it? Oh, detect it? Our SOC. Our SOC will be able to detect and also to respond, starting responding on this kind of situation. And during this process, we will need to recover our system because, have I said, we need to talking about cyber resilience, not only cyber security. And when our internal team is looking or is working on it, he has an interesting information. For example, the IP, the internet address of the malicious entity, he can have the domain of this malicious entity. He can have the email address, and for example, if the attacker has a malicious file, we can calculate the hash of this malicious file. That is a value that will never, mathematically will never change. And with that information, we can create a package and share this package with all of our peers and all our entities in Africa related with us. We have this information and they will be ready if this malicious threat try to attack them also. So in this information, what we have the pillar, the pillar of knowledge. We have the pillar of the operational activity that must be performed, and if we have the last one pillar, share the information. And without, we need to emphasize the attackers, they already collaborated between them. And they share tools, they share techniques, they share intelligence because they are organized. We in this event, we also can see that we are organized. But are we organized when we are talking about cybersecurity? Maybe yes, maybe no. So if you want to protect the African air traffic, we must collaborate better with us. Okay, and as I said at the beginning, when the herd stay united, the lion goes to bed hungry. Thank you. If it was in Portuguese, it would be. But and also, if you have a technical. Okay, okay. Any questions, please? Hmm? Cisco. Go.
Okay. It's okay. My good sir, thank you very much for the insightful presentation. I don't have a question. I just wanted to acknowledge and to appreciate the work that you've put in. It's much appreciated and it was very insightful. So if we check at the ICAO Doc 10057, which is information system security, it speaks to everything that you've highlighted on your presentation. So it's much appreciated. And we have a course that speaks to the information system security. And I think if you have time, one day come and visit us in South Africa so that we can review and try to beef up to strengthen the course, because it's I think when we talk about cybersecurity, it's something that it just came in now. It's always been there, but I think we took it for granted, and until it started to become a challenge in our system. So I think we need such expertise, and I think I was looking at the passion that you have for cybersecurity, and I was like, we are very honored as a continent to have individuals like you who have such knowledge. So thank you very much for this presentation. It's much appreciated, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. I said I don't want to speak, but I'm very much tempted to speak. I will speak to Pajneto. I think we need a webinar. We need a webinar soon on this conversation, particularly for those that probably couldn't get an opportunity to join us here. I think the information that we have shared here is quite valuable. It's quite valuable, and it's something that the industry needs to hear and understand it. Because I think in some areas we still talking about who should be responsible for this area of the profession. Is it IT and OT? And we seem to be bogging down. We seem to be so focused on that. And the conversation shouldn't be about that. As you are saying, the hackers, they are organized already. So are we organized as an industry? And I know that this has been, it is live. Probably the question that I'm going to ask you might have to be diplomatic on how you answer it. Generally, as the aviation industry, are we secure in terms of our system? I suppose the easy answer is you will never know until you are being attacked. Mm-hmm. But generally, how secure are we as the industry? That's the first one. The second one, I suppose this context is important, because I think when you were talking, there's an element of the slide that speaks about retaining and value talent. And when I saw that, the question that I was asking myself, are you saying I must retain and value talent because I'm scared that they will go out and become attackers? I must pay them more, or or I must just capacitate them more so that they can be able to detect these threats early. So that's why I said context is very important. But the presentation is highly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Regarding the first questions, it is interesting because when I'm talking and speaking about cybersecurity on the different industrial fields, this kind of questions always came up. And we, as a specialist, we are always answered that there is no 100% secure infrastructure. And I will follow this official answer. And that is why, and it's official. And this is the better way to make us humble. Because when we are talking about security, we must be aware that everyone is working. The bad guys are working, and we must also be working on it. For sure, we have security levels that can make us sleep well. But we need to understand that it is important to have and to perform a maturity level assessment of our environments, and be aware that we must have talent people, because it's easy for who has money to buy technology. Okay, but it's not easy to buy skills, because we need to have these talent people. So I will say yes, we have security levels that can make us performing our day-to-day activity. Our equipment are working as they need to be working. But we have a legacy environment that is bad for the on the cybersecurity perspective, and we will have a new generation of equipment that is good, but also need us to understand how this equipment can work secured on a secure manner, and how can we maintain on this level. So I think that I was able to, I managed to answer it. And regarding the talented, I was speaking on the way that we, because my background is financial industry, and on the financial industry, it's easy for one guy that start to be scaled will be catched by the another company, and he will jump from company to company. And but I was talking about this kind of skilled and personal retention. If he is skilled, he must be well treated to stay doing his day-to-day job on the organizations, and to guarantee that cybersecurity subjects inside of the organization are well kept. Okay. 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 Thank you.
Obrigado, Nus, pela excelente apresentação. Portanto, vamos seguir. Yesterday is missing one sponsorship presentation. And this is why we gave it Marav 20 minutes for this. You can do it in 10 minutes, please? Because we have more one panel. Bem, ontem ficou por se apresentar a Marav, portanto, vamos dar a Marav 20 minutos para fazer a apresentação do que nos traz hoje. Muito obrigado.
Thank you very much for your patience. Yesterday we could not attend to this presentation, so I will try not to take too much your time. Yeah, as a matter of fact, our company is called Marav. Yeah, we are a private company based in Luanda. Our office is at Talatona, Benfica. This NIF is the tax pay number. Yeah, we do exist, yes, to bring service on telecommunication technology and to see the possibility of to start to get a factory and build equipment. Yesterday we were talking a lot about that. Yeah. Next, sorry. Okay. So as it's supposed, we also joined you in this very important meeting. I'm going back again. What happened? Sorry. Okay, as you can see, yeah, company normally and they understand, or as I learned as an entrepreneur, it's better to do what you know to do. So as I've been introduced yesterday, my background is mainly ground-based navigation system. So, but so as you can see in this screen, we do business supplying and installing and servicing voice communication systems. Most of people inside this room, they don't know what about I'm talking. ARM26 system, ground-based navigation system, offshore-based navigation systems. What are those? We are talking about helicopter operating systems or at the offshore or at maritime equipment. Yeah, we also can provide primary, secondary radar system, meteorological, and field site lighting, and also flying inspections. So as we also we met, in fact, since sometimes of our life we match to maritime. Yeah, we match to maritime. So in maritime we deal with communication, navigation, safety. There's also a GMDSS, AIS. Just we are AIS here is not the aeronautic information service. It's just automatic identification system. It's a system quite similar with a DME. Yeah, it has also a transponder. And what is the purpose of the AIS? AIS is it's a safety equipment. Yeah. It do not replace the radar, but support the radar. In other words, do what the radar cannot do. This is mostly used on ports, and GMDSS itself is a global maritime distress safety systems. And that's split below. As we can see, we have some EPERBs and SARs. What are those EPERB and SARs? EPERB it's a beacon. It's an emergency position indicator radio beacon, and this is also in fact a very important equipment used in maritime industry. I mean, big ships should have it. If for some reason the communication fails, at least people inside the ship will have the EPEB just for itself to start broadcast to satellite and get informed all the search and rescue units. Yeah, this search and rescue transponder also just for safety, because the purpose of those is to save lives at sea. Yeah, we also provide the two-way portable VHF communication VSAT, and the PAGA system. The system is not supposed to be used only in maritime environments. It can be used for everywhere, for commerce, for big places. It's a system that it's a public announcement, and the general alarm systems mostly used on the ships, but this can be used even here. Yeah. What the Inmars RC is there just because it's a part of GMDSS system, and CCTV. Yeah, we do mainly on the offshore companies, and we have also the TV row. What is that TV row? TV row, it's television receiver only. Yeah, we also deal with this one. Beside that, we have some information regarding what we can provide: networks, PBX, IP telephony, cybersecurity, backup, cloud infrastructure, monitoring. Yeah, so sorry to be faster. Yeah, here we can see a list of what we can. Yeah, it's quite a repetition of the previous sketch. Yeah, talking. Yeah, as you can see, we have two sectors where we do business. Yeah. Okay. Here there's another panel where we can see some IT projects that we can provide. Yeah. And yeah, those of course we are a company that have some. We have to be legal, of course. Yeah, we have some certification. What is this? NPG, as we are doing some business with the maritime industry, to the oil
companies, we should have such authorization that allow us to do business on the oil industry. In a it's a national authority that allow us to do the business on this area of communication and ITs. That one is a SBM. SBM is a company that is owning most of the floating production storage of oil in our offshore. Yes, it means that to do business them, if you want to do something with them, you should previously have a certification from them sides. We also, this INAPEM is a national organization too, that we are also certified by them. And on the right side, we have a list of some of our partners. We have a vertical introduction solution. This is a company that with that we are working together, IMED Frequentis at the new airport. We have Motorola, we have Orange, we have done phones for maritime, Vivoasia for maritime mainly, DSI just for supply products on IT, cyber securities. We have also now Telenstax. Those companies are just our suppliers on radio beacons. Yeah, we still doing some, despite of INA is not. I'm not so sure if I'm right. But yeah, the end we are not so longer used, but we still doing some things with the Air Force. Those people that they can confirm, but at the offshore we still doing. We still do inspection, we still do maintenance and provide some beacons due to helicopter operation. Just to have an idea, 2 months ago, we have commissioned an NDB. It was in block 15-06. Yeah, the company is called Go. So we have also here a list of some reference. Yeah, okay, some are just only one. Yeah, but mostly just beacons. Yeah, it's showing, in fact, our to whom we have been working to. Yeah, what I saw the previously, it's down to FPS, so a go. Yeah, some of these activities are ongoing. Yeah, we're still ongoing. Yeah, it's going to no. Where is it? Someone can assist me. I think it is okay. This one is ongoing. Yeah, going. And of course, no much more is no much more. Yes, the idea is not to take you so much time, but it's up to you. I'm still available for any question. If
Thank you for your presentation. Se haver questões, está aberto, o momento é agora, porque depois deste momento iríamos para o almoço, mas acredito que temos mais aqui uns 10, 15 minutos. Portanto, se haver alguma questão para apresentar, o momento é agora. After this moment, we go to the lunch, so we need more 10 or 20 minutes or 20 minutes, so we have time to question and to discuss more some things here after lunch, please. If you don't, you need to improve some things here, please. Thank you.